Destapa el sabor refrescante y prepárate para momentos increíbles. Prueba los deliciosos 5 sabores. Original, fuego, mango, extra lime y el nuevo sabor que te encantará. Limón y chile con un toque picante y súper refrescante. Cualquier momento puede convertirse en una fiesta cuando tienes Bud Light Chelada. La próxima vez que necesites algo refrescante, elige Bud Light Chelada y que se arme la fiesta. Por favor, beber responsablemente.
Breaded Chicken Sandwich. Con cada mordida tú sentirás una fusión de dulzura y picante, una explosión entre miel picante y un pollo empanizado, y una descarga entre tocino y queso de Swiss derretido. ¡Qué rico viaje de dulce y picante! Deja que la miel te lleve y transforme tu pollo para siempre. Métele mano a la nueva Hot Honey Hand Breaded Chicken Sandwich de Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Disponible por tiempo limitado en los restaurantes Carl's Jr. participantes. El precio y la participación pueden variar.
Or has serious deferred maintenance. Or maybe you have a rental property that you've owned for years and the tenants have made it a headache for you. The Easy Cash Offer Home Sale is even a wonderful option for you if you've inherited a home that maybe has a lot of needed repairs and you just don't have the time, energy, or money to take care of it on your own. Call the Radio Realtors today at 833-32-RADIO. That's 833-32-RADIO. We'll come out to your home for a quick as-is value, and in many cases, we can offer you a competitive cash offer on the spot and close in as little as 14 days. The Radio Realtors Easy Cash Offer Home Sale. Get your cash offer today at 833-32-RADIO or online at theradiorealtors.com. That's theradiorealtors.com.
Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree? Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So you can have new flooring installed before the holidays and 1/3 off.
Tracy, that's Tracy.
Yeah, no, Tim. This month it's Halloween.
Okay, Halloween. All right.
Day 2.
During S&G Carpets, get ready for the holiday sale when friends and family... Yeah, see, but if people go into the showroom this month...
Halloween sale up to 1/3 off.
1/3 off. Select flooring.
Thank you.
Go into any S&G showroom before the holidays. And, yeah, my bad. Again, during the Halloween sale at S&G Carpet, save up to 1/3 off select flooring. Plus, get S&G's no surprise guarantee and promise to beat any written estimate by 10%.
S&G more than carpet.
Go to sgcarpet.com for the showroom nearest you or to have their mobile showroom come to you.
Come to the experts at Clark & Russian Carrier for your rebate double dip. Now for a limited time, get new AC and even other home performance upgrades and pocket up to $12,650 in rebates from Spotted Carrier. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for details. License 608005. All that and comfort too.
Rebate double dip means cash for you. Clark & Rush.
Call 916-609-2665.
There's a place where actions speak louder, jackpots echo throughout, and the thrill of it all is thunderous. Thunder Valley Casino Resort, where more than 3,000 slots, 100 table games, all new bingo and poker rooms, blend with award-winning dining, and AAA for dining luxury. Winning big makes a sound all its own. Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Live out loud. Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700.
Did all the research, shopped around, and got lots of opinions. At first, I was planning on getting her a lab-created diamond. But after my visit to Shane Company, I changed my mind. I learned that lab-created diamonds have continually dropped in value, whereas natural diamonds have consistently maintained or increased in value over time. And all the diamonds at Shane Company are natural. What's really cool about a natural diamond is that there is no other diamond in the world like it. It's a natural wonder created by the earth billions of years ago, the oldest and rarest thing you'll ever touch. How romantic is that? And Shane Company's diamonds are conflict-free. They've always sourced their diamonds this way. So for my girlfriend's engagement ring, I chose a 1-carat natural diamond for her center stone. It's spectacular, and it's one of a kind, just like she is.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Smart and Final celebrating 150 spooky years. And this Halloween, we're time warping back to the 80s.
Strangers lurk in search of treats. Drinks and snacks, meats and sweets. Halloween deals are what you crave. Shop Smart and Final. Don't be afraid.
This week, 6-ounce packs of blueberries and raspberries and 5.6-ounce packs of blackberries for just $1.50 each.
Smart and Final. One trip and that's it.
For more information on contests on this station, go to 925thebreeze.iheart.com/rules.
Always wear your seatbelt. And a no-brainer, drive sober and drug-free. Now be safe and enjoy the evening breeze home.
Your easy ride home on...
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton at Big C Sports. Coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And a lot of good boys around the country. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our friends in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, of course. We love you in Canada and Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good boys around the country, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, on a beautiful October the 13th, 2021. Ground on the Portes, the Bitty Bitty Beach. It's all fair and level war. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade. The standard of the world, never stop arriving. Also, I want to say you can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. #1, Google Podcast, Alexa Podcast. #3, Spotify. #4, Speaker Podcast. #5, Apple Podcast. Kind of like Mama's apple pie is all good. That makes sense to you. #6, iHeartRadio Podcast. #7, Castbox Podcast. #8, Deezer Podcast. You ever been a Deezer in your life? If that makes sense to you. All fair and love and war. #10 is actually #9, Podcast Act. #10, Pod Chaser Podcast. #11, Geo Savon Podcast out of London, England. #12, Podtail Podcast. And #14, Hubhopper. 15, Stitcher. #17, Radio Online. Actually, Luminary and Radio Online, all fair and love and war. Hey, you try counting 17 podcasts, see if you don't miss up. As I say, welcome to the show. I want to thank our national sponsors. You can also follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. I pay attention to my family legacy. I always honor my family. I pay attention to the legacy. You know, they have those Ancestry.com. Big C Sports, our service is free. 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 If it's not free, I will stand on my head. And I've yet to stand on my head for anybody that said they were charged. It's all fair level war. My family legacy, Mamo, on my mother's side, the matriarch of the family, and she just kept the whole family together, always did things that made everybody feel loved and safe. It always had food in the belly and a place to call home. Even was famous for, go get that switch, boy, go get that switch. And then my grandfather Pop, my great-grandfather Pop and my great-grandmother Mamo Pop, the patriarch of the family, who was a former Negro League baseball player, also one of the best moonshine makers in the history of the universe. That's why I said, let's get ready to rumble. He would always say that after he went out and drank his lemonade. If that makes sense, yeah. I don't think it was lemonade. All fair level war. And then my grandmother, Muddy, she's also a seer, well, hard worker, helped everybody stay together as family. And then my grandfather, Hezekiah, he was also a seer, helped everybody see things. It's all fair level war. My mother started a Head Start program in Northern California and also coached us to the Little League Championship of the universe as the only African-American woman in the league that coached a baseball team to a league championship. Some people said, I would never, they did a John Gruden, I'll not tolerate anybody with lips that beautiful telling me what to do. If that makes sense, yeah. She said, if you don't like my lips, quit. So the management stood by my mother. We won a league championship, but she didn't beg people to say. She said, don't try to chase people who do not see your value. If people don't see your value, leave them alone. Tell them to quit. It's all fair in love and war. She's amazing. And then on my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, a pastor, owned 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Definitely the patriarch of my father's side. He actually had 40 acres of property. Isn't that something? And then my grandmother, Alberta Curry, helped my grandfather, Albert Curry, with church and also business. Definitely a matriarch, made sure the family stayed together. Told me when I was 8 years old, she said, boy, go outside. You're making too much noise. Now she said, there's something about your voice. I love your voice, even though you speak fast. It's all fair and love and war. And then my father, retired Air Force, United States Air Force fighter pilot and chief mechanic, making sure that planes could fly high. It's all fair and love and war. Well, let's get ready to rumble. I said, Big C Sports, Espy nominated Big C Sports podcast. Also, Espy nominated by Disney Corporation. No scripts, no three-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. The only thing in my ear, a little bit earwax, but everybody has earwax. Don't act like I'm the only one. It's there to keep me warm in the wintertime. That's what I was told. Anyway, I always say I thank my son Malcolm for sending me stats on NBA basketball. He's amazing. He's all over it. My daughter Daisy has helped me set up at times at sporting events and Big C in the past with his wealth of knowledge. Really appreciate everybody with Big C Sports Podcast. Number 1, I produce. Number 2, I direct all the topics. Number 3, I broadcast every show. Number 4, I do all the sound effects. Excuse me, did I break your concentration? I do the commercials outside of what the agency does. Guess who's coming to dinner? I hope they serve the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger. And it comes with what's all this exotic meats. It's all fair in love and war. So I do the stats providing. That's why the Giants and Dodgers have advanced to this game 5. I said there'd be 5 games in this series before the Giants win on Thursday night. It's all fair in love and war. Right now I'm batting 1,000. That's not bad. That puts you into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, about the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's all fair in love and war. I did win a Bay Area Broadcast Excellence Award. I've done all the Bay Area broadcasters in the universe. They chose Charlton Curry. Isn't that something? You say, I wonder why. I wonder why. Try doing a show on your own and then tell me if now I understand. Then I do play-by-play, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's gone all the way. Only the old-time Oakland Raider fans understand that from the Super Bowl in Pasadena, where he picked off a pass from Fran Tarkenton, and he took it to the house. Sink the earth. Oh, man, Willie, he's gone all the way. All fair and love and war. And then I upload every show, 17 podcasts, and 4 TV platforms, and it goes through the agency and they upload it. But if I don't do the show, it doesn't happen. So give me some praise. Hey, like TD Jake said, get your stick together. I said stick. I said stick. Don't go writing any letters to the FCC for me. I'm telling you, FCC is all fair and love and war. The podcast, I really love the podcast business. And as I always say, I never missed a show since September 12, 2015. Never missed a show starting with Salem Media, all fair and love and war. I also pay homage to God, not just when I need something, but I do it all the time. One of my favorite scriptures in Genesis 13:15, for God said, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. I really love that. And then James 2, it says, New King James Version, it says, we have not because we ask not. So just ask. Anything you want, if you ask, the answer is either yes or no. We tell ourselves no all the time. Quit telling yourself no. Tell yourself yes. And stop chasing people who don't see your value. If they don't see your value, they probably suck anyway. Make sense to you? You got value. Like the cheerleaders in high school say, we got value. Yes, we do. We got value. How about you? At Charlton, they say we got spirit. Is it spirit or value? Okay, I told you, I'm producing my own show. They say we got spirit. Yes, we do. We got spirit. How about you? Well, I changed it to value. We've got value. Yes, we do. We've got value. How about you? Everybody has value. But the more time you spend chasing somebody who doesn't see your value, the more time you suck. So quit sucking, if that makes sense to you. Unless you're a baby coming out of the womb, then you got to suck. You got to stay alive. Keep hope alive. Keep sucking. Babies understand what I'm saying. Sometimes parents just don't understand. Oh, I love paying homage to our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experiencing helping veterans and their loved ones get help. Everybody says we love our military, but what do you do for people when you love them? If they have a crisis in life, and most people do, you can pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text, like a lot of the young people now, they don't call anybody. They'll text. They'll text from the bathroom. Can someone bring me some toilet tissue, please? Some things you can check you have enough before you need it. It's Happy Wednesday. It's all fair level war. Text 838-255. That's 255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. You can definitely get some help for our veterans and their loved ones, maybe even you, because every now and then we all need a checkup, if that makes sense. The great late Zig Ziglar, a checkup from the neck up. All's fair and love and war. Also very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV. Giving some praise on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Uverse, TV at the first place, San Francisco Giants, and they're still in first place. They are tied with the Dodgers at 2 games apiece, just like it happened all throughout the season. It's one game. You only get one shot. They're going to get one game, one shot, the great Eminem, to decide who goes to the NLCS. That will be happening very, very soon. It's all fair and love and war. They're going to take on the Atlanta Braves that knocked out the Milwaukee. Milwaukee got knocked out yesterday. The Brewers decided they wanted to stay home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home, so Dorothy said stay home. Dorothy said then stay home. All fair and love and war. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. They'll be playing in the NLCS against either the San Francisco Giants or the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I'm saying they're going to be playing against the San Francisco Giants. It's all fair and love and war. For those of you who reach out to the San Francisco Giants, just tell them Charlton wants those World Series tickets. I've been saying it all year that the Giants won the pennant. The Giants won the pennant. The Giants won the pennant. I picked them from the beginning, and I'm going to stick with it. It's all fair and love and war. They will win Game 5, in my opinion. And if not, I will stand on my head. If that makes sense to you. Also, just tell them Big C want those World Series tickets. For those of you looking for real estate, man, housing, buying, purchasing, selling, refinancing real estate, have some mortgage loan products that are no income asset documentation. Discounts on assets. It's amazing how things are changing in the mortgage lending industry. Want to help people get their groove on with real estate, even saving money on their loan or buying a house or selling a house. And we got the Big C team, the real estate dating app. For those of you who swipe left and swipe right, looking for love in all the wrong places. Looking for love. You can look for love on the Big C dating app. Just go to bigcsports.pacwm.com and you can find out more about what's going on in the mortgage industry. Unlike a dating app, a house never leaves. It never forsakes you. It never calls in late. Hey, I'm going to be working late tonight. It never says, hey, I forgot how to find my way home. I told you to leave the light up for you. With the Big C team dating app, you can always find what you're looking for because houses get lonely too. No more lonely houses. Our goal is to recruit 10,000 real estate agents all over this great country to help put people back to work. Just like McDonald's does it, car dealerships do it, and then State Farm's doing it, Nike's doing it, sports teams are doing it. Watch TV and real estate work for you. 800-772-8624. Also, I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in God said in the New King James Version, it was Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. He said, play Big C Sports Podcast. Well, hold on. Producer, you gave me the wrong paper. No, he said, no, God said, let there be light. Okay, my producer stepped in late last night. Kind of got some papers blown up the table. He don't know where he is. God said, let there be light. And also, so there can be Big C Sports Podcast. How about that? It's all fair in love and war. Today's show also sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol. 100% honest game. Sports fans, while you're watching the big game, eat the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger. And it comes with, what's all those exotic meats? What's all those exotic meats on the Big C burger? It tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hands. I guarantee it tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hands. As do most things in life. And babies, especially newborn baby, they can tell you a lot of things taste better in your mouth than it does in your hands. My mama told me many times. She said, boy, I thought you were a milkaholic. Oh, fair and love and war. Oh, babies know what time it is. You got to have fun in life. It's all fair and love and war. Also, I finally want to say, for all you sports fantasy fans that love to bet on fantasy sports, go to superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports. It's fantasy sports sponsored by Caesars Entertainment, the all-purpose website, superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports. Featured in Sports Illustrated, Yahoo Sports, Associated Press, RotoWire, Sportico. Also, subscribe to unlock exclusive fantasy games and sports betting experiences by going to Superdraft Pro, the official fantasy partner of Caesars Entertainment. Go to superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports. It's all fair and love and war. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause. so you can catch your breath, if that makes sense to you. In the words of the former California governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back for the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. Really appreciate that. It's all growing with Big C Sports. We have some baseball that's lined up, coming up on tomorrow, Thursday, October 14th. It's going to be a 9:07 p.m. East Coast time start. The defending world champion Los Angeles Dodgers, then they are 2-2 in this series, 1-1 away. The Giants are 2-2 in the series, 1-1 at home. It's all fair and level war. The away pitcher will be Julio Urias. He's 21-3. Give that man some praise. 21-3. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a flamethrower. He has a 2.93 ERA. So you know he was trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Hey, Captain Kirk went to space today. William Shatner actually got out to space, making fun of him yesterday. He had a bellyache, but he got out in space today. And I thought, just like him, I thought he'd already been in space. I felt cheated. Because I watched Star Trek that started, I want to say back in the 60s by the late Gene Roddenberry. And he would always say they want to live out new dreams and pursue universes and go where no man has gone before or something of that nature. So I thought, well, he's already been in space. Captain Kirk, William Shatner. Now today, they say it's the first time in space. Makes me wonder if the moon landing was real too. If it is the first time in space, as many times as I've seen Star Trek, it made me feel a little bit let down. It's all fair. Be careful what you see on TV. Sometimes it's not real. All fair level work. And the home pitcher, the great Logan Webb, out of Rockland High School, Northern California. He's 12-3 on the year. He has a 2.83 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. He was a quarterback in high school, and now he's doing his thing for the San Francisco Giants. I'm telling you, this was a series that I thought would come down to the best that I thought would happen to have these two teams. And it's so much, and I know that everybody wants to see, that you want to see the two best teams compete for a championship. And I know the Braves are good. I know whether it's going to be Boston and Houston, I know they're good too. But there's something about the Giants and the Dodgers. I feel like we're seeing the best series now. I'm not saying the World Series is going to be a letdown, but I do know that it's going to be a great game. But we can't find any better than two teams for the first time in 100 years that we were the same division facing each other. And last night, the Dodgers got a 7-2 win over the Giants. And when you think about going into this next game, Dodgers versus Giants, it's a Game 5. The rivals, the Giants and the Dodgers, they play a Game 5 in an NLDS Thursday night in San Francisco. And someone will leave their hearts in San Francisco. Somebody's going to leave their heart in San Francisco. Stays alive. A Game 5. It's a heavyweight match, NLDS. It's going to be in beautiful San Francisco. I helped open that stadium. I was at the first opening of Pac-Bell Park at the time when it opened. The house that some say Barry Bonds built way back in the early part of the 2000s. And now the Giants and Dodgers are doing their thing. So the arch rivals are going to play each other. Game 5, best of 5 NLDS Thursday night, Oracle Ballpark in beautiful downtown San Francisco. Going to be a madhouse. The weather should be nice, a little bit cool but nice. Best of 5. We found out as much about we can as these two teams in the action-packed 7-2 Dodgers win on Thursday night, actually Tuesday night in Game 5. Hope that's not a faux pas. It's a faux pas. Come on, guys. It's all fair. The Giants won the pennant. How about that for you guys who don't want to jinx anything? So now it's a winner-take-all. Aren't most things in life like that a winner-take-all? Let like your belief. Don't spend your time chasing after people who do not see your value. Why would you? You're just pouring water in a gas tank. That's not a smart thing. I know because I did that when I was younger in college and I needed some gas money. Water messes up the intake system of a car. I learned that the hard way. And it was my friend's car. How about that? But anyway, Mookie Betts did a good thing. Had a big hit last night. The Dodgers got offensive. They've been shut out twice against the Giants. Their 2 wins, they scored 9 and 7. They scored 15 points in the 2 combined wins. They scored 0 points in their 2 combined losses. The Dodgers and Giants on the road several times early in the game. It's a left runner on base in the first and second. And then the third inning came, 1 out. Will Smith, Justin Turner, Gavin Lux, Drew walks to load the bases after a Cody Bellinger grounder. It was the result of in and out at home plate. Chris Taylor ran the count to 3-2. Runners broke pitch. And then you realize that good things happened then from the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers had left 6 runners on base through 3 innings, and things were looking good. They were up 2-0. It felt like the lead should have been bigger, but the Giants have a great defense also. No matter what you think about this thing, Buehler threw well on short rest. That good boy, I think he was 4 to 3rd innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 base on balls, had 4 strikeouts. The crowd was giving him some praise. Give him some praise. They gave him praise. And Buehler also has a low 1.25 ERA. He is a Jedi Knight, and that's in 21 2/3 innings in his career in elimination games. Dodgers, they struck early. The Giants will likely strike early, but they come back to San Francisco. So it all comes down to Game 5, and I think everybody, could you ask for more in the baseball gods? Yeah. How about a World Series win? Okay, of course, my producer would find that guy. But the stage is set for the first time in history. 2 teams that won at least 106 games. Give them some praise. That's a lot of winning. 106 games by 2 teams. The Giants 107, the Dodgers 106. Wouldn't that be a great score for Game 5? 107, 106, the Giants win. The Giants won the pennant. The Giants won the pennant. It's all fair, 11 war. But in the same division, too, Giants and Dodgers never faced off in a postseason series. It was a matchup many people were hoping to see in the postseason, and that is going to play out Thursday evening in San Francisco. I mean, you only get one shot, the great Eminem. You get one chance. This National League Championship Series, the other's going to go home early. Both teams earn the right to go deeper into the playoffs. So deep, put the butt to sleep, the great Ice Cube. All fair and love and more. The Giants send Logan Webb to the hill. He dominated Game 1 of the series, allowing just 5 hits in 7 2/3 scoreless innings. He struck out 10 walking. Think about this. Without walking anybody. Nobody got on the great Keith Flett. Nobody walked. That good boy, nobody got on base with that good boy. He's only 24 years old. What were you doing at 24 years old? Don't say it out loud. But think about it. This came to after a breakout season in which he looked part of an ace. The Dodgers are going to count with Julio Urias. He got the win after 5 strong innings in Game 2, and that's what he does. He's 20-3, a 2.96 ERA. So if you ask for great baseball, that's what it's about. Los Angeles, Southern California, San Francisco, Northern California. Most people know that San Francisco is a much more beautiful city than Southern California. Los Angeles is beautiful, but it's not like San Francisco. San Francisco is the most beautiful place in the universe. It's just my opinion. And I want to just give everybody the thought to think about it. It's baseball at its finest, and would you rather be any place else than watching this game if you're a baseball fan? So give the baseball gods some praise. Give them praise. It's all fair in 11 more. You know, I want to touch on something that happened with some vaccination talk, and it's been all over sports. There's some TV commentators. They got into a heated exchange over Kyrie Irving, deciding whether he's not going to take the vaccine. Now, he would not be able to play our practice with the Brooklyn Nets, the report said about Kyrie's intentions. But there's some conversations, and it affects everybody. Because whether Kyrie plays or not, he's planning to sit out the season. The guy got $200 million in the bank. It's not like somebody's sitting out when they're eating top ramen. Nothing wrong with top ramen. It tastes pretty good at times. But he's been in the league and earning about $200 million, makes $40 million a year. But when you think about it, there are people who, they don't fight medical science when they get sick and have to go to the doctor. Isn't that something? When people get sick, they don't go to church. They go to the doctor. And they listen to the doctor's advice. They get the nurse will take their vital signs. I know some EMTs. When they get called, they check the vital signs. They ask the person, how you doing? Are you okay? How many fingers do you see? Do you know what day it is? Tell me your first and last name. When were you born? They ask those questions. And if they need to, they administer oxygen and then an IV. So why do we trust them then and not before we get in that situation? It's something I've talked about with my own parents. Growing up, they would say, go to the doctor, get your checkups. Don't wait until you are forced to go to the doctor. And so whether people have heated exchanges about it or not, Kyrie Irving's his own man. But it feels like, people have their own belief. I understand the Tuskegee experiment that lasted about 40 years where 400 black men were injected with syphilis, and they were allowed to cohabit with whoever they wanted, their wives and girlfriends. And they were not told because they were studying how to treat syphilis. And they experimented with black Americans. So I understand people who are well-read, they understand that. It may cause them to be a little bit on pause about that. But when you think about it, everybody has their own right to get medical treatment or not. But you got to also realize that an employer has a right to tell you that you can't come in here and be potential disruptor to our other employees. That's fair too for an employer. So I know people have their own heated debates about it, but people are very passionate about it, emphasizing that Kyrie Irving is choosing to be a part of the team, and so he needs to take responsibility for what comes with that job. And he's a basketball player who signed on to play basketball for the Brooklyn Nets. But he got $200 million in the bank. That's a different choice you can make with $200 million compared to a guy with $200 in the bank, if that makes sense to you. So I know people have their own opinions, but it's like telling someone to take their blood pressure medication or their diabetes medication or their medication for whatever it is. They might be diabetic, and some people refuse to take their diabetic injections. You can't force people to do anything. Most babies are I guess they get their vaccines when they're born, and some people choose not to vaccinate their children. There's some religions that choose not to take blood transfusions. You know, they knock on your door, ask you, do you know Jesus? That kind of thing. I'm not going to call any names, but people know who they are. So when you're choosing to say, I don't want to take the vaccine, and you go through a time where it hasn't happened since, I think, 1918, we had another pandemic that killed a lot of people. Well, doctors can only do the best they can based on medicine and science. And that's why they're telling people to get vaccinated, because they have proven that people who have vaccines, they're less likely to succumb to some fatality. But everybody has a right to live the way they want to live. Anyway, I just wish that for people who have people in your life that might be a little bit, immune compromised, could be older, have other pre-existing conditions, talk to your own doctor, not to even listen to me or some TV or radio personality. You got to do what you got to do. And hopefully whatever you do is going to keep you safe and your family safe. And that's all I can add about that. I know people look at, it's a bad thing also, and just my opinion, when an employer says you can't work here unless you get the vaccine, that wasn't part of your onboarding interview. Does that make sense to you? It wasn't part of your job detail. But things change. What about Obama say, President Obama, it's time for change. And things change. When things change, you got to change with the times. And I know when it comes to keeping people healthy, we all got to change with the times, because we have to do what it takes to keep our society safe, and not just that person that says, I refuse to get a vaccine shot because I don't trust it. Well, the employer can also refuse to let you play. That's okay too. It's just a game. I more care about the first responders and the doctors that save lives than somebody with $200 million in the bank deciding he doesn't want to play anymore. That's his choice. But it's all fair, love, and war. No need to argue about it. We should not be at odds over trying to keep people safe. That's my thoughts, and give me some praise for that. Give me praise for that. I want to talk about the 2021-22 NBA preseason. Some of the top performers, some of the biggest storylines since we talked about Kyrie Irving in the NBA. Scotty Barnes averaging 13 points a game, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and he has 2 steals and 2 blocks. That's what he's averaging. The great Andre Drummond, Philadelphia. Well, I want to go back to Barnes with Toronto. Andre Drummond, Philadelphia, 19 points, 14 rebounds, averaging 4 blocks and 3 assists. Give him some praise, too. That's just preseason. Tyler Herro, Miami's averaging 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Give that good boy some praise. He deserves praise. I mean, everybody has their own opinion about who's a better player. This James Borgnight, Chicago, actually Charlotte, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists. Give that good boy some praise. He's been earning that, too. And then Jordan Poole, Golden State Warriors, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks for the Warriors. Give that good boy some praise. You would think you would say Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, those kind of numbers. Kind of a big storyline. The rookies have been playing some ball in the first game, the jam-packed 9-game slate. Scotty Barnes impressed for the Toronto Raptors. Really been doing his thing, the 13 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. 2 steals and 2 blocks. Give that boy in Canada some praise. All's fair in love and war. I think when you think about the build-up throughout the preseason this October, man, if you look at who's favored to win the NBA Finals, I still go, I know I like the Los Angeles Lakers. I really do, especially bringing back Rondo on his defensive side. But I would just say, it's up in the air now. Milwaukee won it last year. There's not going to be a repeat, in my opinion, not going to repeat in Milwaukee. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo, that good old boy is one of the best players in the history of the NBA at his position, at least in the last 20 years. I'm not saying he's Kareem, but he's definitely good. And I know everybody has their own opinion about who's going to reach where. But Brooklyn, without Kyrie Irving, they're not going to win a final. Just not going to happen. So you can make them maybe a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Final again. I think Miami's loaded. Boston's good. You also look at Atlanta. They had a young team last year, and they got there. Can't really count out Toronto. But everybody knows the Knicks are going to be a better team than they were last year, maybe. I mean, they learned what it's like to win again, so they'll be back in the thick of things. But if you had Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and, I think those two are the point guards that can handle. And then Durant, in my opinion, Durant's still the best overall player in basketball, in my opinion. Don't throw darts. I know Giannis did his thing too. I know King LeBron can do his thing. James Harden, Steph Curry, they're all good. Nikola Jokic was the MVP, but he wasn't the best player in the NBA. But he got some numbers out there, and people put him up there. But I know everyone knows that Kevin Durant's the best. He's the best player in the NBA. That's just my opinion, and everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion, and mine's just as good as yours. Who's going to determine what milk a baby likes the most? Breast milk or something out of the can? That's that baby. Sometimes they're too young to talk. If they're still going out of the nipple, they got to go out of the can. Only a baby can tell you who they like the most. A baby can. I like breast milk, fresh squeezed, if that makes sense to you. I guarantee it. If that makes sense to you. My mama used to always tell me she thought I was a milk addict. I can understand it's all fair love and war. But just thinking about preseason, who do you like more? Like, who do you love? Who do you love more? Everybody has their own opinion. I feel like basketball is amazing. So in the Eastern Conference, if Kyrie plays there with Durant and Harden, you got to say they're the favorite, even though Milwaukee's the defending champion. Outside of that, you got to look at Boston, look at Atlanta. Who knows what's going on in Philadelphia? Still got to look at Philadelphia. Joel Embiid do his thing. But I come out to the West, and of course, it's about who gets the calls. So the Lakers are the best team in the NBA, in my opinion, with LeBron James, because he's still King James. He's still King James. They have Westbrook now, and they have Davis. Come on. They just added Rondo, too, for playoff Rondo. I really like what the Lakers have put together, too. But everybody has their own opinion about who the best team is. It's just my opinion. But you got to look at Denver still knocking on that door. They're not going to get in. Utah's going to knock on that door. They're not going to get in, though, because... And then you have Dollar Dame. Portland's not getting either. This is coming down to the Lakers. And Phoenix saw their thing. They had the Phoenix Rising last year. The Phoenix was rising. They had their rising stars last year. But it's about the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. The Denver Nuggets with Murray doing his thing also. And, Utah's always made noise, but they always get knocked out since Karl Malone left. And he joined the Lakers. But it's all fair and love and war. I still like the LA Lakers. And I'm going to bounce at the Golden State Warriors also being right there with Denver. And I'm going to give respect to Phoenix because they were there last year. And Ayton's just going to get better. So, and Chris Paul's, he's as consistent as baby's milk. What does babies like the best? Breast milk or milk out of the can? That's something we should do a research. Can someone do that research? There have to be some scientists that have put together a sample. What milk do babies like the most? Breast milk or milk out of the can? And then we got to ask grown men too. They like breast milk or milk out of the can? I think we know the answer to that. We'll take the Big C pause, also known as the Dixie timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about more things that are going on in the sports universe. In the words of the former California governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you like milk better out of the bottle or out of the breast milk? Which tastes better? Which is more natural? I'll be back. All right, we are back for the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. It's all fair and leavenware, as well as 4 TV applications. A quiz for you. There's no right or wrong answer. What does a baby love most? Milk out of the bosom or milk out of the can? There's no right or wrong answer. I took my own survey from when I remember I was given the choice. I preserve breast milk out of a can 7 days a week. If that makes sense to you. It all tastes better out of the bosom more than it does out of some can. That's all fair level work. Speaking of cans, touchdown Aaron Rodgers, NFL football. He's tried to remember all the Bears quarterbacks since 2008. He can't do it. Damari Smith discusses the email from the Washington football team investigation, whether that race is a factor in hiring decisions around the NFL. Is that really a question? It's already answered itself. Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, Superman Lamar Jackson, he gives the refs a shout out on Monday night, calling a roughing call. It's all fair in love and war. I want to talk about something that, to me, everybody wants to make sure that football is great. Buccaneers will face the Eagles tomorrow, and you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Philadelphia Eagles in that game. There'll be a lot of praise in that game. High-scoring game, in my opinion. But I want to just touch on this thing. The Washington football team, they used to be called the Washington Redskins. They fought for a long time to change their name because, and again, some people feel that you should leave it up to Native Americans to decide whether or not they want to change the name. And some people say it's offensive. Some people say it's not. I mean, it's up to people. You can't please everybody. There's no monolithic group on the planet. But Damari Smith discusses an email trove to the Washington football team investigations and questions that whether race is a factor in hiring. Race has been a factor in everything since 1619. Some of you don't know what 1619 is, but just Google it. It was an epic moment in the United States. But the National Football League Players Association Executive Director Damari Smith says that one of the primary reasons for his request that the National Football League releases emails from its investigations of the Washington football team, and I agree with him, is that he wants to determine whether race has been a factor in the hiring decisions around the league and whether teams have been actively hostile to players that have chosen to self-identify in various ways. Race has always been a factor. We got to fix it, just like sexism is a factor. Racism has been a factor. The only way you fix it is by talking about it. That's the only way. It can be uncomfortable if you're crooked. If you're a sexist, of course you don't want to talk about sexism. If you're a racist, of course you don't want to talk about racism. If you're a thief, you don't want to talk about stealing anything, especially to the police. Everybody has their own opinion. But Smith discussed a range of topics, including the NFL's investigation into the workplace misconduct with the Washington football team and the reported emails that led to John Gruden's resignation from the Las Vegas Raiders as part of an interview with ESPN's, with Bomani Jones. Now, for those of you, whether you're a man or woman, if you're out there cheating on your spouse, do you want to put that on TV? Unless you're in divorce court or some TV where they have how to catch a cheater, you can catch people that cheat. Just ask them to show you their cell phone and they won't let you see it. Where they hiding? If they're open and honest with you, they can give it to you. They don't have to have 19 locks on it. But for women and men that have relationships outside of the marriage, some are honest about it, some lie about it. But the ones who are lying about it, they're not going to show you their emails. They're not going to show you their text messages. They won't let you know who they've been talking to because they have something to hide. Ask them. Do it tonight. Might be uncomfortable at the dinner table, but you can find out right away. You don't need some investigation. Ask them for their phone and let you go through it. The ones that say no, they probably hiding something. So Smith, his comments came on the day after the NFLPA said it would formally ask the NFL to release the remainder of the 650,000 emails. I didn't know a server could have that many emails. That's a lot of emails to determine if somebody's been doing something right or wrong. There's no perfect people on the planet, so they're going to find whatever they're looking for. You're going to find whatever you're looking for. And then they said they're actually hostile to players and have chosen to self-identify in various ways. They're denigrating of people based on sexual preferences and religious identity. It shouldn't be anyone's business what someone does in the privacy of their own home, as long as it's legal. If it's illegal, then that's a law enforcement issue. But one of John Gruden's emails included a racist comment about Smith, who is black like me. I'm African American. All life came from Africa, so even John Gruden's black. Google Dr. Mendel and Gregor Leakey. All life came from Africa. Before Gruden was fired, even though they said he resigned Monday, as the Raiders head coach, Smith tweeted that the emails and some of the reaction to it confirms that the fight against racism and racist tropes and introduced tolerance is not over. And that it's not about emails as much as it is about the pervasive belief and how pernicious it is that some people who look like an African American are treated like they're less important. And that's why it's been in society. Not everybody's that way, but most people try to fix it. But black men have been the most targeted people in the country since 1619. Whether you read W.E. Du Bois, The Souls of Black Folks, or the Kerner Commission that was conducted by Lyndon Baines Johnson in the late 60s, they've always targeted black men for redlining, banks deciding not to give loans to black men, even for people who could not get work, and they were ostracized by employment. If they wanted to get welfare for their children, the father had to leave the house. It was designed that way to destroy black families. You have people today that will do whatever they can to destroy a black family. They would not do the same thing to destroy a white family. I've noticed it with my own 2 eyes and 2 ears. There are people to this day that will go outside of their own marriage to try to destroy a black family and keep the father separated from his own children. They would not do that to their own pale white kids. But they'll do it to kids of color. And then they'll go back home to their own relationships with a husband beating their butt. I've noticed it with my own 2 eyes. Drinking and driving, drug use, rampant, alcoholics in the family. But they will do whatever they can to destroy a black family, especially black men, and not do it to themselves or their own skin color. So Damari Smith, he echoed those sentiments during the interviews Wednesday, and Jones said that Gruden reached out to him this past Saturday, one day after the Wall Street Journal report about Gruden's racist remarks. As a man of color, I've seen that racism my whole life from people that smile on your face and they destroy your character behind your back. They don't do it to your face, though. They always do it when you're not there. And they know who they are. I always put their names out when I find out about it. I don't let them hide. So John Gruden was hiding for a long time. Now, Smith told that he responded by text messages and hopes to speak with Gruden later this week, acknowledging, however, that their weekend exchange occurred before Gruden's firing or resignation. Smith also emphasized today that he hopes the NFL and the Players Union will match our actions to our words in regards to diversity and inclusion. And what's so bad about diversity and inclusion? Well, even in banking, there are loans that are coming out to this day that are designed to make sure that African Americans and Hispanic Americans, Mexican Americans get fair treatment for mortgage loans. Like, why do you have to make that a mandate? It should already be a mandate in the fact that we have anti-discrimination laws. But banks know that these laws are written and controlled by people. So we know that people discriminate, even though it's against the law. But people do it anyway. Like speeding is against the law. How many people drive the speed limit all the time? So I love what Damari Smith is saying. Just like in the workplace, it would be good for our game and for our business, for both the leagues and the union, to decide that we are going to turn a corner and just wipe out racism the same way we want to wipe out this COVID-19 virus. We want to wipe it out. We got to vaccinate against it. How do you vaccinate against racism? It's been an issue since 1619. People are taught in the home. Oftentimes, many negative things that are said about black Americans, especially black men, it's not said to their face. It's said behind their back. And because enough dumb people don't have the character to say, hey, that's not right, it goes on. You can't legislate the heart. So the Gruden resignation came shortly after the New York Times reported that he used misogynistic and anti-gay language in not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, numerous emails. And as a white man, he still got $100 million over 10 years. So why are they punishing John Gruden for what a lot of white Americans teach in their home anyway, which is to treat people like, oh, they're different. They're other. And a lot of white Americans, if they're honest, they know that. Even in the church, they have Jesus as a white man. He's not white, not according to the Bible. The book of Revelation, chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9 and 10 and 6. And all over Colossians, Christ is a man of color. How come our churches don't teach that? Because they also perpetuate the racism. Just Google it. I'm a black man and told you that. Can't you read that for yourself? But when you raise from cradle to grave believing that there's two different kind of people, and there's not. All life came from Africa. The black gene is called the dominant gene, and you can reproduce the recessive gene out of the dominant gene, but you cannot reproduce the dominant gene out of the recessive. That's Mendel. Dr. Leakey was looking for the origin of man. He studied through Europe, but he traced it back to Africa, to a black woman. That's scientific fact. Even dumb people can read that. But when our whole society is antithetical to that truth because of what they call ethnocentrism, they wonder, how can someone act like they're racist? Well, society has trained people to be that way. And when you don't want to talk about it to fix it, it benefits certain people to stay that way. That's why a lot of people will try to go out of their own households to destroy a black family, especially a black man, and they wouldn't do the same thing to their own pale white children. And they know who they are. But when you go into the anti-gay, all the misogyny, people hate on women, they hate on gay Americans, because people are wicked in their own rights. There's no partiality in Christ. Should not be any partiality among people. But I want to say the NFL is important. It's the biggest league in America, only second to soccer in the world. But the New York Times had to report this on the misogyny and the anti-gay language. Numerous emails, to Bruce Allen. Who's interviewing Bruce Allen? Why didn't he put a stop to it? Why are they not throwing Bruce Allen under the bus? Why didn't he go to Damari Smith and say, hey, we have a problem? They talk about the Washington football team. He's president of the Washington football team, the Washington freaking football team. And think about it, over the years, a 7-year period that ended in 2018, the report came days after the 10-year emails. They're 10-year-old emails from Gruden surfaced that included the racist comments about Smith, who's a beautiful black man, intelligent, a lawyer, as well as vulgar criticism of the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. He oversees he works for all the owners. And anyone can be criticized. But even Gruden, with all that racism and bigotry, he was employed by ESPN to work as a lead analyst for Monday Night Football. Isn't that something? I thought they vetted people. Well, if you vet people who have the same behavior that you have, what's to vet? What's not to like? You see that same garbage all over fraternities and sororities. They have their own racism inside of them. That's where they're usually monolithic. It's a breeding ground for that garbage. So everybody has their own opinion about what's going to happen to Damari Smith, if he's stepping down, or what's going to happen with the NFL. If they really care about liberty and justice for all, give them some praise for bringing it up. At least cheer for that they brought it up. Because you can't fix anything if you don't talk about it. And I'm glad they're talking about it. Arizona Cardinals lose tight end Max Williams for the season. Center Rodney Hudson is out for Sunday's game. You have the Baltimore Ravens' Lamar Jackson. Told the Rebs, he gave him a shout-out Monday night doing a roughing call. Also, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, he voiced some rest after throat contusion, expected to play over the weekend against the Detroit Lions. And the Steelers and more NFL teams join red flag emoji trends. There's a lot of good things they're trying to do. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen, he teams up with fans to sell retro high school sweat gear. He went to Fireball High School in Central California, doing the best he can to stay interacting with a lot of the young kids back in the world of sports. It's all fair and love and war. This segment sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% on this game. It goes great with the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? It's all fair and love and war. I love what's going on in the world of NFL because they're talking about issues that can make a change for a lot of people. I really appreciate it that we got to figure this out. You know, I want to run back to this thing with Kyrie Irving and not wanting to get the vaccine. Everybody goes to the doctor when they get sick. All of us do. Get our checkups. Major League Baseball, Tampa Bay Rays, David Hess, is diagnosed with a cancerous tumor in his chest. And he's starting chemotherapy. Isn't that something? Give medical science some praise. Give it praise. Give medical science some praise. I hope that he's going to be fine. he only found out because he's got his checkup. But you notice he didn't go to the church. When he found out he had the tumor, he went to the medical doctors. And the medical doctors, just like with the virus, the COVID-19 vaccine, they're telling us what helps to keep us all safe. You can choose to listen to it, you can choose not to. That's why we go to the doctors, to make sure we know what's going on. I hope that he's going to be okay. When you think about it, everybody has to go get a checkup. Emotionally, mentally, we all talk about our Veterans Crisis Hotline. It really is a suicide watch line for people who are contemplating maybe not knowing how to deal with issues. It's okay to say I need help. It's okay to say I need some help. And there are people there who can help. But they can't help if you don't ask for it. That's why I love giving out our Veterans Crisis Hotline on every show. I think when you look at baseball, the state of baseball, Major League Baseball, biggest challenges for 2021, it's just about how do we change the game to make it better? How do we feel about moving the mound back, or raising the mound up, or making the bases a little bit further apart? Whatever it is, baseball is always tampering to make it better. I think they should stop checking the gloves and the hats to see if a guy is putting some junk on his fastball. Of course he is. How do you think he's throwing strikes? If a guy can throw the fastball 102 miles per hour, something's wrong. Maybe he's just doing a lot of push-ups. I don't know what it is. But people love they love it when the count's full, the bases full, the count's full, the bases are full, the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. They say the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. It's all fair in love and war. We got to figure out what it takes to make baseball a better game, and I love that. When you look at the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets, Coach Steve Nash calls the team decision on Kyrie Irving difficult, but it is a sound decision. It's a sound decision. If you choose not to get vaccinated, why would they risk the health of everybody else? It's all fair and love and war. Doc Rivers assuming that he's going to have the great Ben Simmons will play for Philadelphia, but who knows? The Lakers debut LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook combo in preseason loss to the Golden State Warriors. I told you the Warriors are back. It's all fair and love and war. Ben Simmons passes his physical, has a brief meeting with Philadelphia 76ers front office. It's all fair and love and war. If you look at the Memphis Grizzlies guard Dillon Brooks, he's going to miss the start of the season due to a broken hand. He's a solid player, very talented young athlete. All fair and love and war. And then you look at Boston Celtics center Al Horford tests positive for COVID-19. And then Kyrie Irving refuses to take the vaccine. So young people, maybe they'll be okay through it. But who are you around that can be compromised? That's why it's important to not be selfish. Not be selfish and figure out what to do. Major League Sports is amazing. Nhl Hockey, Toronto Maple Leafs to support TikTok decals on helmets throughout the season after their agreement signed. Opening night, NHL, some of the best moments, Tampa Bay Lightning, banner raising, and the Seattle Kraken. They were cracking. Seattle got cracking. There was a song called Kraken. Let's get cracking. I think it was Kraken. Whatever it is, it's back to have that back. Washington Capitals, Alex Ovechkin questionable for Wednesday's opener against the New York Rangers. It's all fair and love and war. They said that he's back in practice, but it's still a game time decision in the opener. Haven't seen if he was able to get in on the ice or not. It's all fair and love and war. Detroit open season at home against the Tampa Bay Lightning is all fair and love and war. And then if you have Seattle, the Nashville, they host Seattle to host the season opener. I mean, it's all fair and love and war. I hope that everybody has a good time watching men roll around on ice and they go out and give them some praise. Give them all some praise. We all need to have a relief, and if sports can be a relief for you, then God bless you, let it happen. I just look forward to all the great things happening, whether it's WNBA, whether it's college football, NFL football. Going to have my NFL Big C's picks tomorrow for the NFL, my top 15 NFL football teams on Thursday. On Friday, of course, we also, on Thursday, we're going to bring you the preview of the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 5 NLDS at beautiful Oracle Ballpark in downtown San Francisco, California. Got some WNBA happening. Also, the NHL is happening. We'll have our Friday Night Lights coming up on Friday with the top 10 high school football teams in the universe, according to Big C Sports. And then we'll get into the college football preview on Friday for the top 10 college football matchups coming up on Big C Sports. And then the NFL, man, NFL's fantastic. I'll have Big C's picks coming up Friday on Big C Sports. We'll look at some of the top teams in the NFL, and we'll give Big C's picks also Right now, I'm winning about 8 out of 10 in my choices, and that puts me at 80%, and I don't even bet. Maybe I should start betting. It's all fair, love war. I like to say this section is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. Follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. And I do it by myself. Espy nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I always pay homage to my family. I love bringing the legacy and the lineage of everybody that's helped in my growth with Big C Sports. And there's a lot more great things coming to Big C Sports. As I say, let's get ready to rumble. And I say, welcome to the show. No scripts, no three-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. People say that's painfully obvious, Charlton. Well, you try to do it. I pay homage to my son, my daughter, and also Big C for every show. I produce, I direct the topics, I broadcast the shows, I do all the sound effects. Excuse me, did I break your concentration? Guess who's coming to dinner? I do that too. I do the commercials outside of what's provided by the agency. I do the storytelling, touchdown, home run, three-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. I do the play-by-play. I upload to 17 podcast applications. I don't do it, but the agency does. I really appreciate that. And then I never missed a show since September 12, 2015. Been doing Big C Sports. Started with Salem Media. Looking for that $10 million funding. I know it's on the way. It's going to really make things come to fruition. I've been working on that for a long, long time. It's all square and level work. Congratulations, William Shatner. You finally made it to space. I thought the Starship Enterprise was your first voyage to seek out new frontiers and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. And now I found out today was his first time in space. I feel a little bit hurt, if I don't mind telling you. What tastes better for a baby? Milk out of a can or milk out of the bosom? I think most babies would choose the bosom. Most mothers would love that they chose the can instead. All fair level were back in the day. There's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. And he would always tell Ali, quit drinking that milk out of the can and use the bosom instead, Ali. It helps you float like a butterfly. It makes you sting like a bee. You rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, all that milk you've had to drink, how could you lose? He said, I'm pretty, I can't possibly be beat. I float like a butterfly, I sting like a bee. Milk out of the bosom or milk out of the can? What kids would choose the can over the bosom? All fair level war. My beautiful mama said, boy, I thought you were a milkaholic. It's all fair level war. As we always tell you, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. My mother taught me that no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day. Milk out of the bosom or milk out of the can? I prefer the breast milk. That's why I'm so thick. I have thick bones. I drink a lot of breast milk. My mama said, boy, I thought you were a milkaholic. It's all fair enough for her.